Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorin Alliance. In today's video, we're doing what have you been watching in the glorious month of March? So, Luke, what have you been watching?
So the most recent things I saw, so I've seen two movies this week alone. The first one I saw was called Fackham Hall, which is as the name implies, it's kind of, what it's meant to sound like, what it means. So it's a British spoof comedy, kind of like The Naked Gun or those like scary movies. It's about a rich British family that in order to stay in their manor, Fackham Hall, they need their daughter to marry another wealthy person, which is played by the actor that was Draco Malfoy.
Oh, yeah.
So everything in this movie is kind of silly, just constant spoofs, play on words, like weird things happen that don't make sense. But I did laugh at it. 1.5 million plot holes, but it was a comedy and that's how it was meant to be. I probably give it something like a 3 out of 5 in the sense of it wasn't a great movie, but in terms of a comedy, it did its job.
What was it about it that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy compared to other movies in its genre?
For a spoof movie, it was pretty good. It was probably just more what it was about. Like, for instance, the Scary Movie movies, which is a new one coming out soon, I'm very excited about, are, spoofs on horrors. And the Naked Gun movies are spoofs on cop movies. This is a spoof on, like, Downton Abbey. So it's like, it's not an interest of mine, so that's probably why. It was just the scene it was set in was a bit silly, or it's just not something I particularly enjoy. But overall, it was okay. I don't know if I'd recommend it to people unless you were a fan of spoof comedy, because you'll look at it and go, this is just stupid. But I enjoyed it. I was one of 2 people in the cinemas though, so if that gives you kind of an idea of how popular it is. The second movie I saw just yesterday was a new Glen Powell movie called How to Make a Killing. This movie really blew me away. So I was intrigued by the trailer. In essence, he is an heir to a massive mega fortune, but he's not part of the family anymore. So he's worked out that if he wants to get part of the fortune, he needs to basically wipe out his competitors and take out his nieces and nephews and cousins and whatnot. The movie is really fun. There's lots of parts in it you're like, sure, you'd get caught for that. But I really enjoyed it. I also it's not a spoiler because it's revealed in the first 1 minute. He is already in prison, so he's telling the story of how he got there. So I liked that it removed that element of, is he going to get away with it? Or because even though he is the bad guy, you still want him to, because you already know the end result. So I enjoyed it, but in saying that, it still had lots of twists and turns in it. Some pretty big actors in it, but yeah, Glen Powell was the most notable.
Does it get creative with how he kills each of his relatives? Or do you go, oh, that's far-fetched, he would have gotten caught of how he killed them? Or that it's somewhat believable?
It is somewhat believable, but it's not far-fetched killings in the sense most of them are taken out made to look like accidents. So, whether that's like, a cigarette lighter causing an explosion around gas, or whether it's someone drinking, something that had like a poisonous ingredient in it. Everyone was staged to look like an accident, which is what kind of makes him not the worst guy in the world, because he's not really cold killing people, like stabbing them and shooting them. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. The movie had lots of twists towards the end, and I was gripped the whole way. I really liked it, so I am looking forward to seeing this a second time.
And you said you watched the third movie?
The third movie I haven't seen yet. I'm going to see Scream 7 tomorrow, which I believe is probably not going to be that good, but as a big fan of the Scream franchise, I think I'll thoroughly enjoy it. Other movies I've watched since we did one of these videos, I don't know if I've talked about it, was Send Help.
Oh, yeah.
Again, a movie I really liked, starring Dylan O'Brien, Rachel McAdam. That was really good, but that came out a while ago. And there was another, but weirdly this year, I've seen maybe about 10 new movies, and I've watched most of them twice, which is not usual for me. Like, a few years back, I watched 150 plus movies. Last year, I watched 30 or 40, and I was over movies. This year, I've been picky, and the movies I've seen, I've wanted to watch a second time, which is very interesting. So I'm really liking the list of movies this year, how it's shaping up. Even though they may not be as good as other movies I've seen in previous years, I'm just enjoying them a bit more. So Marty Supreme would be my favourite movie so far. So yeah, what have you been watching?
Well, I just recently finished a Netflix limited series called The Beast in Me, what is basically the main character is a business owner, and he is accused of killing his wife, and then the other main character is actually a book writer and is writing a book about him, and it is basically trying to uncover did he actually kill his wife, or was it just an accident? At first I was really enjoying it, and then it kind of gets too predictable, and then I kind of wish they did other things to it. But as a limited series, it's well done with how it's shot. It even begins with a white screen, and then it shows like chapter form, so that's pretty good. And it's shot quite differently compared to most television shows.
Okay, any notable actors or actresses in this show?
The father that plays the business owner is actually one of the actors in Breaking Bad.
Okay. Oh, is it like Hank? Like the bald looking guy? Is that...
Hank's assassin or hitman.
Okay. What else? You watched any movies?
The last movie I saw since we have done this is Mercy, that I actually quite enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was quite unique and quite original. I quite like it, how it's shown how Chris Pratt's character had to like prove his innocence and things like that. I just didn't like how it related to someone else related to him. I wish it actually told more of a story towards his police officer. I thought that was a really storyline that they it meant a lot to why the AI came into the movie, but they didn't like press on it enough. And I'm like, oh, this had potential to be better, but instead we're making it about like something else. So I was a little bit disappointed about that, but people saying it's terrible, I actually enjoyed it because I thought, oh, this is quite unique and quite good.
I totally feel the same about Mercy. I think that it got a lot of unnecessary hate. I like the insight of... I generally think that that's not far away from what the future could hold. To me, it felt like it was sci-fi, but not too unrealistic. I really felt that we could actually implement this in the future. The concept that he was put on trial, I thought was quite good. I just think it got a bit far-fetched with the whole scheme of what the gentleman was trying to do with take out the Mercy program. I think was really wild, that all those steps to try and how it related back to Chris Pratt's character.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think that got a bit wild, but the whole concept of someone being on trial and having to prove it was quite good. Maybe a better spin on the movie would have been that, hey, a friend of the police officer is put in the chair and they're like, I haven't done this, I'm innocent. And then he works with Chris Pratt as maybe the police officer to try and prove his innocence. And then at the end, maybe they prove that the system is corrupt, or there's a big cover-up behind it, which it kind of did, but then it added terrorism. I just think it had a bit too many elements. Yeah. But the idea of trying to prove your innocence, I think, is like a really, really cool concept. I love the use of the technology on the screen and the drone footage. I thought it was a very, very cool movie. I think it's worth seeing at least once, but I think the hate is probably unwarranted. It's no masterpiece, but it's definitely not rubbish.
No. And I also recently watched Young Sherlock, what was presently quite entertaining and quite like comedic, and it had an interesting spin with Moriarty actually being the Watson role of helping Sherlock with the crime, and it was actually quite a youthful take on the Sherlock character, because we know that in the, I guess, older version of Sherlock, he is working with Watson and Moriarty is actually the villain, but this was actually quite a nice breath of fresh air version or interpretation of Sherlock. So I would highly recommend watching this show because it's quite a easy story to understand, and it actually the storyline actually all loops together quite interesting, and I hope there's a season 2.
There is a lot of Sherlock
There
Holmes
is.
movies, spin-offs, versions. I'd like to see you do a ranking one day of them because you've watched most of them, I'd say.
Yeah, I've watched the movies with Robert Downey Jr. I've watched the show with Benedict Cumberbatch. I've watched Elementary, the American version, and this version.
Yeah, it just seems to be heaps of things. And wasn't there another Sherlock Holmes' daughter or something
Yes,
recently? There seems to
that
be
as well.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes is like it must be just massive. Like so many Sherlock Holmes based things.
Yes.
Trying to think, have I watched any shows? I've revisited Two Broke Girls. I've continued to watch The Shrinking. I'm up to date with that. Absolutely love it. The Shrinking is, again, a top-notch show. Season after season, I enjoy it. Got a long list of things I need to finish off or continue with.
Weren't you watching The Studio before?
I was. I've watched about 4 episodes of Studio. I do really like it. The Studio is right up my alley of what I'm interested in my personal life too. My wife had lost interest in it, and then I just haven't got around to doing it. And Fallout, I'm like 3 or 4 episodes into Fallout. I'm midway through watching Severance. There's so many things I'm partially through. I just haven't finished. The Bear, I'm halfway through the most recent season of The Bear. It's just, I get motivated to watch a show, watch a few episodes, and then don't come back to it, and then end up starting something new.
Do you feel like that's because all the shows come out weekly and then it's hard to keep track what you were watching, and then it's like you either need to prioritize one or you need to keep track of what you're watching, and then because of time and energy and life you kind of lose track of what you watch. Instead, if they brought it out all at once, what they used to do, that means you could like choose one, watch all the episodes and move on.
No, I think the weekly ones are the ones I keep up with. Like, as I said, I'm up to date with The Shrinking because it's weekly. The Bear got dropped all at once, and then I kind of started to watch it and then didn't continue. Fallout was dropped all at once.
I believe it was weekly.
It was weekly? Okay. Well, I didn't start watching the second season till every episode already came out, so it was like it got all dropped. So I think if a show comes out weekly, but I've got to be onto it week one and continue. Otherwise, I kind of just lose interest in it. I think that's really all I've been watching show-wise. Movies, as I said, a lot of things I'm looking forward to. I've seen the trailer to Scary Movie 7 several times now, and I am so excited to see it for a spoof movie and something that's probably going to be quite silly. It just looks like it's going to be funny. I think that they have harnessed what has made the previous movies, or at least the first 1 or 2, quite funny. And looking forward to Project Hail Mary, which we're going to be doing a live stream on.
Yes, definitely. I do have to talk about Wonder Man. I actually think no one expected it to be good. As a Marvel project leading up to Doomsday, it does not much for it, but as a TV show, it's actually quite a masterpiece. And the thing I love is that the studio coexists with showing like the production and the creative side from the studios, and Wonder Man shows it from like the actor's perspective trying to get a job. So both shows are kind of like a team up sort of show, and Wonder Man is just a show that it's probably my favorite show of the year so far. I just think it just shows acting in such a way that I didn't think a Marvel project would show.
That's another show I've watched 1 episode of. And
Yeah,
I
it's
quite
great.
like. So I'm very much started a lot of projects, just haven't finished them. I actually, when I saw the trailer of Wonder Man, I thought it was going to be good. I
Did you?
generally thought this is going to be a really good show.
A
So
lot of people didn't.
Yeah, so I have all faith that it was going to be a good show, and I just haven't finished it yet.
Do you think the reason why a lot of people didn't think it wasn't going to be good is because it, instead of being a Marvel show leading up to Doomsday, it was more a show about something else, and now people watched it, they realized that it's actually a good show, like Andor, kind of showing a different side to something instead of always focusing on actually being Marvel.
I think probably people wanted superheroes, and because it isn't, from what I can gather, very superhero heavy, then that's probably just, it's not what people wanted, which you can't really win. They go pump out too much superhero stuff, people say they're over it. You do something in between, or more artsy, or more like down to earth and grounded, and it's, oh, where's the superheroes? And it's very hard to win. It's hard to please. Marvel have obviously toned down the amount of content they bring out, and they're trying to narrow it to something a bit more like of a higher quality. So I will continue with Wonder Man, but I think if it's strange that people are speaking so poorly of it.
Yeah, I don't understand why they were, but I think the show is definitely worth watching. And I also started season 2 of Paradise, and it's such a good show. I think it mixes Silo and Lost in such a genius way that it's probably one of my favorite shows that I've started but haven't, well, it's coming out weekly, so I haven't finished season 2, but just the dynamic of seeing how society has crumbled and the lengths that people will go to try and keep people thinking that there's no one surviving.
Yeah, I've not watched Paradise. I've heard good things though.
It's worth watching. What's your thoughts about Anaconda?
Anaconda, okay. So that was a movie when I first saw it, I thought quite highly of it.
Me
Watching
too.
it a second time, I didn't think it was funny anymore.
Yeah, me too.
I don't hate the project. In the end, it's probably what I expected it, just to be a bit dumb and silly. But the first time I watched it, I laughed so hard and it blew me away. But yeah, it's one of those movies that probably didn't need to be made, but you know, Paul Rudd and Jack Black have been in a lot of movies like that probably didn't need to be made, but they made their money back. You know, they got paid for it, and you know, everyone wins. So it's not the worst thing. I guess it brought celebrities to where we live on the Gold Coast, where it was filmed. I do enjoy looking around trying to find spots from the film. I do think I found where they filmed their scenes where they're in the water and they're like walking in knee-deep water. I think I found where that is. I have a theory of that. I don't know how to fact check that, but yeah, Anaconda it was an okay movie, like a 3 out of 5 kind of thing.
Yeah, it was fun, but I think it could have gone in a different direction. I do think the cameo of Ice Cube is my favourite part of the movie.
I do too. Watching it a second time, though, it just wasn't, because you knew it was coming. So I really don't think it's a rewatchable film.
So, since we're in the 3rd month of the year, what is your most excited movie at the moment?
Like looking forward to, or best movie I've seen?
Looking forward to movie.
I really want to say Project Hail Mary, but the trailers show it so differently. Some make it look super serious, others make it look like it's a bit of a comedy, and then the reviews keep saying that it's good, it's a family fun movie, so then it's making me think, which one is it? So I'm kind of leaning towards that, or it's hard not to say something like Doomsday, but in terms of, I'm going to say The Odyssey. I think yeah, just something different. I think Marvel is Marvel, so you kind of know what you're in for. It's either going to be as good as you expect or it disappoints you. But I think Odyssey has the opportunity just to blow you away, because it's just something I haven't seen before. So The Odyssey. What about you?
I'm probably going to say the movie with Emily Blunt.
I
forgot what
the Steven Spielberg movie that could be about aliens. I don't know.
Yeah, it just looks quite unique, and I think we're in a stage where I've been saying it for years. I think writers are losing ideas, and when I see a movie like that, when I go, I don't know what that's about, and it's hooked me, I am intrigued. So I'm very excited to see what it's about.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I wish I could think of what it's called.
What's your thoughts about Paramount beating Netflix with the DC universe? Because
Buying HBO and Warner Brothers?
yeah, because it was with Netflix, and then Paramount won with $11 billion or around that mark.
To be honest, it doesn't matter which one owns it, really. Like, you either way, it's going to be possibly one less streaming service you need to be part of, or one of the ones you're already part of now is going to become more expensive. I don't know. It really doesn't faze me, because who owns the properties at the end of the day just determines who gets the royalties and who gets paid. I, as a consumer, it doesn't change anything. The Harry Potter movies are still the same. Yes, now that those are going to be properties of Netflix, Paramount, sorry, maybe it changes future projects, but in terms of existing, it's no big deal. There's probably is a bit more to it, but I, as a consumer, I don't think it's too much of an impact. Maybe they might decide to revamp the Fantastic Beasts series.
Yeah. That's the main thing you would like them to do?
I think that would be cool. This isn't really related, but Paramount Plus own the rights to the Workaholics movie, which is a show that I really like. They wrote a movie, they were going to make it, and then Paramount Plus pulled the pin. But because they own the rights to the movie, they can't go and make it elsewhere. So I hopefully Paramount Plus, like with being so busy with other things, maybe they release the rights so that they can get the movie made somewhere else. Because the Workaholics people, they are now have they've had a podcast for years, but it is now owned by Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, maybe they could sell the rights to Netflix and then Netflix can make this movie. I don't know. That's one thing I'd like to see, but it's not really related.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, you're awesome and keep being awesome. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.